Good morning and a very warm welcome to a completely empty check-in area here at London Heathrow. I'm shortly going to be checking in on an economy flight with Finnair through to Helsinki, so come along and check out this airline for the first time on the channel. I decided some time ago to use Finnair over to Seoul in South Korea. This was always going to be part one of the journey over to Helsinki, a 2.5 or 3 hour or so connection. So I was really looking forward to getting into it and seeing what the economy experience was like across Europe with Finnair. In terms of the check-in experience, like so much of T3, this was all fully automated. You could check in on the machines just behind this area just showing now, and then you then progressed onto the bag drop to send your own bag off yourself. It was really nice and efficient. Wow, that was certainly one of the most seamless check-in processes ever, largely because I've still got the entire thing completely to myself. Not a bad start for sure. I'm only around 2 hours, probably less or so before the flight. Anyway, let's get through into the Terminal 3 area and we'll check out what food and beverage offerings we've got here at T3 for economy passengers. I'm still very much enjoying my Sapphire One World Alliance status, so on that particular day I was able to use the priority security lanes. It's well worth checking out at T3. Sometimes it can be pretty quiet, but otherwise pretty busy. You know how it goes, so it's well worth looking into if indeed you have the status. On the food front, well, from a T3 point of view, it's a very large terminal, but actually the public areas are relatively small. Thankfully, on that particular day, it was nice and quiet. There's a really good choice of different restaurants, whether you want a sit-down option, a bit more of a grab and go, and something to suit every budget. As mentioned, on that particular day I was travelling with the status, so it was straight up to the One World Alliance lounges. My pick and recommendation of the lounges would be to bypass American Airlines Qantas and also British Airways and go straight up to the Cathay Pacific Lounge. This particular lounge is split both into business class and first class, and it's absolutely stunning. I'll certainly be doing a fuller review in a later video. Alas, that's not the focus for today's video, so let's head on down. There's our aircraft and let's jump on board. The boarding experience in itself with Finnair was absolutely seamless, and it wasn't long at all before I was heading on down that air bridge, ready to check out the onboard environment for the very first time. Being an A320 family aircraft, yeah, you guessed it, those seats were laid out in a 3-3, with business class certainly looking no more fancy than the rest of the aircraft. I particularly liked, however, the colour palette that they went for. The aircraft itself seems really quite nice and roomy, and I had a seat just behind the main business class section. Now, I'm not sure if this was a slightly older aircraft. It is worth pointing out at this stage that whilst it was Wi-Fi enabled, more on the pricing on that a little bit later, there was no in-seat charging. So do remember to charge those all-important devices before jumping on board a Finnair flight, as not all of the aircraft clearly are fully power enabled. For those, however, that do like a little bit more control over their cabin environment, it is worth pointing out that there were overhead air vents and also individual lighting. I really liked overall the cabin interior, had a nice feel, was nice and comfortable, and certainly was more than spacious enough on this particular flight. Also, certainly lucked out with the fact that there was no one sat directly next to me, which, yes, always helps an awful lot. As we push back from the gate, really good time for me to mention once again that I've got so much more from Finnair upcoming on the channel, including an in-depth review of their brand new long-haul A350 Premium Economy. So if that sounds like something that you'd like to get into, hit that subscribe button just now and YouTube will then recommend that to you when this video then goes live. Otherwise, it's now time to head off to Helsinki. I'm going to turn the music down. Enjoy the takeoff. As we departed on that particular morning, we turned to the northeast out towards Helsinki. In doing so, we had some phenomenal views back across towards T3 and indeed Heathrow, where we just departed. Let's kick things off in terms of the in-flight experience with a look at Finnair's Nordic Sky. Nordic Sky is Finnair's onboard portal. It's really clean and very modern. From here, you can check in on where you are in the world, get connected to the Wi-Fi, and even see some of the menu options. We're going to kick things off by taking a look at the onboard Wi-Fi and the various different packages just here available. On the Wi-Fi front, there was a couple of different options available too. There was a browse option, which included access to both audio and video streaming. There was then also a browse package. In terms of pricing for a flight that was relatively as short as this one, whilst I did like the all-you-can-eat unlimited nature, I did find them both a little bit expensive. On the food and beverage front, we'll kick things off by firstly taking a quick look at the menu card. As is ever the case with Finnair, this was really nicely put together. That said, from a major downside point of view, the only complimentary items that were offered were either water or blueberry juice. We'll get into the latter in just a moment, but really, for a flight of this duration right the way across Europe, for my money, this just isn't good enough. British Airways are currently slowly rolling out a programme which has seen decent complimentary food options re-emerge onto their pan-European flights. It would be really nice to see the remaining European One World Alliance members such as Finnair follow suit, so hopefully this will one day be the case in the future. Now, if you do find yourself flying with the airline and not looking to purchase drinks or food, this is probably the best option for you. It's the blueberry juice. It is at least a little something, and it's very unique to Finnair, so well worth trying if you're flying on board with them. As we started our descent down into a beautiful day over Helsinki, it was time to start reflecting on what had been a pretty decent experience overall. In terms of the onboard cabin environment and service from the crew, I certainly can't complain. It's as good as anything that I've seen across Europe. It's a little bit disappointing not to have more from them on the food front, but that does seem to be a bit of a theme across Finnair, and that's something that I'll get into in later videos. If you're thinking about booking a pan-European flight and would like to check out a little bit more from some of Finnair's closest competitors, I fly regularly with British Airways and I've got my most recent review from their short-haul economy in the bottom left just now. Otherwise, really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you've got any questions whatsoever, pop them in the comments below. Otherwise, I look forward very much to welcome you to another video real soon.